Okay, we are live. All right, everybody, good evening and welcome to our session of Gaining the Age in Stellar Females in Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. Good evening from Nigeria, because I believe we have other people streaming from other parts of the world and session watching us. This program is scheduled for just 1 hour, so I will advise you, our dear audience, to get your jotter, to get your biro as we do this. And we want to welcome, my name is Mfoni Sudo, and I am the founder of Stellar Females in Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. And this vision was born out when I found out that, like myself, I have been marginalized, especially when it comes to team-based work, class work, internship, and work experiences. I'm like, why do they do this? Why do we feel I am not capable simply because I am female? I have witnessed other female engineers marginalized, especially when it has to do with site work. And it wasn't really cool with me. And that's why I founded this organization to help other female go up in the ranks of leadership. Because after I graduated from school, I began to take up other roles, and it exposed me to so many things. People had to hold my hands up so that I wouldn't change career, because there was a possibility of me changing career. So today, I am bringing in my coach, like I said in one of my posts, those that followed us, that at a point at Future Females Business School, I was always coming to your DM to tell you about Stellar Females. Yes, before I founded it, you were right there with me. So I'm bringing my coach, Coach Farida, right here. So she's here with us. So I will allow her to introduce herself. Please, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ofo. First of all, let me start by saying it's such an honor to be on this platform. It's really very commendable when you see that, a vision or an idea on paper now translates to, something that is live and people feel it and have an impact on it. So thank you so much for having me, and congratulations on launching this platform. So a short intro about who I am. So my name is Farida Yahaya, and I am the founder of the Brief Academy, which is a concierge hub for purpose-driven early-stage female founders. I am also, like Inform mentioned, a coach at Future Females Business School, which is a program designed to help early-stage tech-enabled businesses, especially that of women, that is female-owned businesses, to really grow and be able to get the resources they need to scale. This business school program in Nigeria is actually funded by the UK Aid in collaboration with the UK Nigeria Tech Hub. So that's me in a nutshell.
All right, great. That's an awesome profile. I would love to tell the audience that apart from all the other things you do at Future Females Business School, which is a UK Nigeria, which is in partnership with UK Nigeria, that you're also a Mandela Washington Fellow, the prestigious
Yes.
Mandela Washington. So you have the exposure, you have climbed up the rungs of leadership, and it has been certified by the prestigious Mandela Washington Fellowship that you can do this, that you are capable, that you have been through the processes, and people can look up to you and you can mentor them to get through to that point. Okay, Ma, before we actually start, I want you to clear one notion in the head of people. So while I was advertising for this program, like trying to get people to join, I had a guy coming to my DM that time, and the guy was seriously complaining that if men start to have an association, like a foundation like this, or a group like this that encourages male, what do you think the world will become? Please, I want you to clear that notion, because what we are doing here, we're not competing with the male. Just kindly help me clear that notion. Thank you, Mara.
So I think, unfortunately, the person that probably sent you that message is either not ready to be in reality. So the person is in denial of our reality, right? Our collective reality. Our collective reality is that for centuries, men have been given an upper hand when it comes to women in so many different fields, right? Even when you look at just the household, right? The African culture, unfortunately, has allowed men not to even take responsibility, but women end up shouldering everything, right? If you look at the home, they say the man is the head and the protector. But a lot of times, the women end up making the home, right? Because we have found ourselves in a place where, anything a man does goes. Anything a man does goes. We always make excuses. Mothers, wives, sisters always make excuses for boys, right?
That's
So
true.
unfortunately, whoever sent you that message is in denial of the reality. And one of the reasons why it is important to do things like this is not to segregate or to, try and champion a certain
So
ideology,
unfortunately, whoever sent you that
right?
message is in. Yes, ma'am.
Or try to champion an ideology that is not true. What we try to do is to encourage. Community is important because it uplifts, right? Most of the time when you have conversations with other women, it's not necessarily even about what is going on. It's about the burden you feel emotionally from everything that is going on. It's not necessarily because you want them to probably give you just a solution. It's just because you want to be listened to. You want somebody to say, oh, wow, I understand this because it's happened to me before. Right. And
Yes,
then
ma'am.
from that point on, you can now say, oh, when it happened to me, this is what I did. It might not work for you, but it might be something for you to look at it. It gives you a change in perspective. It makes you realize that you are not alone in this journey. Like, it has happened to other people. It probably happened to other people after you. What is important is the information of how to solve it.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
really, for me, that's how I look at it. Anything that I do, women only. And I have also been attacked like that many times before, right? Because a lot of things I do is focused on women because I know the realities. I know where it pinches. It's very difficult for me to come and speak about men's struggle because I don't know anything about it. Even though I have a son, even though I have brothers, even though, I know people, so many other people, I have friends that are male. I don't know the struggle of being a man, right? But it's easier for me to talk from the perspective of a woman because I know what it's like. I know where it pinches. So really, at the end of the day, when you get such a question or, someone throws such a challenge at you, it's just to say, what we are doing here is trying to uplift. And I don't think that you are someone who is opposed to uplifting people. So don't feel like, there's anything wrong with this. But if you feel the need to go ahead and create a platform for men as well, please go ahead and do it because we have a lot of broken men actually walking around in the society. And they also need that kind of community. Because unfortunately, for a very long time, the society we live in has made men to take in so much without being able to, express themselves. Men have been told not to show their emotions, just hold it in, just hold it in. And it has made them, very angry. So maybe he might want to set up something like this so that he can help the men as well. And he's welcome to do it, really.
That's correct. I thank you, ma, for that. Thank you so much for that because exactly what I told him that what we are doing is not to compete with the men. No, 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 no. I gave an example that while I was because I studied civil engineering, like while I was in
Mm-hmm.
school, in the entire college, because we had four departments of engineering: civil, mechanical, agric,
Okay.
environmental, and electrical electronics. We were not up to 10 females compared to over 300 boys. The
Exactly.
statistics was very, very slow. I was like, so why is it that females don't take up these things? Is it a societal problem? I tried to tell him that
Mm-hmm.
even myself,
Mm-hmm.
before I my parents agreed that I study civil engineering, it was a tug of war because they feel, why would you study engineering when there are other soft landing courses that you can just leverage on and study
Exactly.
and all of those things. So this is to promote the fact that girls, you can come up in engineering. It is a thing that
Mm-hmm.
you can do as so many others. So that was the example I give him. So whosoever that is watching us here and you are a guy and you're also having this kind of concern, what Coach Farida said is just exactly what we are doing. We are not out there to fight with you, but we are out there to add value to this world that we are living in. As we can see, we need so many people to add value. And that's exactly
Yeah,
what we are doing, to add value and much more. All right, thank you, Ma,
exactly.
for that. We are already far gone. We already spent 9 minutes already, and we need to start. All right, now we had this foundation. Do you think that we need more female in the STEM field currently as it stands right now? Because statistics says that in the entire world, 33% of female are in the STEM field, but in Africa, only 3%.
Mhm.
Like when I saw the statistics, I was like, "What's going on here? Why 3%? What is going on? Is the problem from
Yeah.
our parents?" Is it from the society or is it from ourselves that we have agreed to ourselves that we cannot do this because that is what they tell us? What do you think, ma?
I mean, I'm even surprised it's 3%. I thought you were gonna say like 1% or even less. Mm. Because I mean, what I find is that like I said, we live in a society where women are conditioned to be at the back, right?
That's correct.
Let me give you a typical example. When there's no bulb, right? The first thing a parent does when you have a son and a daughter is to tell the son to come and see when you're changing it. The girl
Mm.
is not sure how to change the bulb, right?
Yes,
When
ma'am.
you buy a car for your daughter, right? You tell her that when there's a problem with the tire or anything, she should call the mechanic or call her brothers to do it. So from that stage of grooming, even from the home, because we say the home is the first place where you learn, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right from that stage, you are being conditioned to think that when it comes to fixing things, when it comes to technology, when it comes to science, when it comes to things that require practical hands-on experience, you are not required to do it, right?
Yeah.
And you sort of like even unknowingly just accept that this is who I am, right? I'm not allowed to do such, or I'm not supposed to like such things. Then you move it over to when you go into the society. You're in primary school, you're in secondary school, you're in university, like you mentioned. Everybody from your teachers to your parents to your friends even are telling you to always move towards the things that are for women, or the one that is soft enough for you.
Yes, ma'am.
And somehow, even if you have a different opinion or a different passion, you start to accept it. And then gradually, before you know it, that innocence you had as a child of curiosity and wanting to learn is now replaced with something the world has told you about where you belong. And
Yes,
of
ma'am.
course, most people want to be, human beings are social. We're social beings. That's how God created us. We always want to be in a pack. We want to be in a group. We want to be validated. Now, you choosing to do something that the group does not approve of means that you're going to be an outsider. And nobody wants to be an outsider, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you try to tell yourself and convince yourself that this thing that you love to do, engineering, science, maths, is an abnormally. It makes you weird. It makes you an outsider. And so you relinquish that passion or love just to fit in, right? So
Correct.
unfortunately, that is what we are seeing. For some girls, they don't even get to realize if they have the passion or not. It's killed very early in them, right? From the minute they start to show signs of doing this, why are you acting like a boy? What's wrong with you? Right? And then they
It's
just
correct.
shut you down. It's the same thing even with dressing. When you say you feel more comfortable in women's clothes, they say, what's wrong with you? Are you a lesbian? This, that, just try to throw labels on you, right? Just
Yes,
because you are more comfortable in men's clothes. If you like to hang out more with boys, they say, oh, what's wrong with you? You don't like being around women. There must be something wrong with you, right? There's
correct.
always a reason for you not doing what the society has labeled to be acceptable.
Mm. Mm.
So that for me is like it is the root of the problem. And it's something we need to address. As parents, as sisters, as siblings, we need to be very careful. It breaks my heart when I see how we play with words. Words are very, very powerful. Words can either make or break a person. They can either inspire that person or destroy their self-esteem. So when I see people joke about everything and they're like, oh, why are you too serious? It was just a joke. I'm like, no. What do you tell people? What do you tell them, even as a joke? It stays with them. They have to make a conscious effort to shed it off. It's like skin, right? They
Mm.
have to make a
Yes, ma'am.
conscious effort to shed it off. So when you are trying to mold a child's mind, you have to be very careful the kind of words you speak into their mind, because whether you know it unknowingly or unknowingly, you are speaking into their life. And what is wrong for you to do is to take away the right for the child to do what they love.
That's true.
So for me, that's how I see it.
Mm. All right. That was a pretty interesting one. And I'm glad that you've touched every section of it, what the society is saying. When you come home to our parents, everybody's contributing to the fact that you cannot do this, you cannot touch this. And the most funniest
Yeah.
part is that they don't give you a solid reason why you cannot do this. They just don't
Mhm.
say, they just say, no, we just cannot do this. We feel you cannot do this. But we have, over
For
time, we
the
have heard,
parents,
yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
sorry, I just wanted to add to this. For the parents, right? They're
Yes,
actually
ma'am.
doing it from a place of love. They
Yeah.
actually don't want you to be an outsider, like I mentioned. No parent wants his child to end up being an outsider, right? Or being cast away in the society. So, because of that fear that they also inherited from their own parents, do you see? It's generational. Because of that fear, they actually also pass on that fear to you.
Yes, ma'am. I agree. I
Mhm.
totally agree because, uh, because I can still remember the words of my dad when I wanted to take on a course on civil engineering. I could still remember exactly how he was reacting to it, why I shouldn't do this, and it was like, why would you do that? Because my elder brother also took up a course in engineering. I was like, why would you want to take a course in engineering? Your brother is taking, you also want to take. Your cousins, it's only the male. Out of all my cousins that I have, my senior cousins, only the males took up courses in engineering. But I am glad that the moment I took up a course in engineering, my other cousins that came up decided to also take courses in engineering. So I don't feel segregated again. My father is now being proud that, oh, my daughter is now the first female cousin in our family that is actually a female engineer. So whenever he does, I was like, is it not the same you that said that I should not take up this course? Now you're being proud about it. So this is, we just have to go out there and break this ceiling that they have put over our head and say you cannot pass it because this is just what it is, without anybody giving us a reason. And this is not just about STEM fields. It's about everything in life. If you feel you can do it, just shoot out for the side. Thank you, Ma, for that. It was really insightful. Okay, you have been in this field for quite a number of years. What are the limitations that you can point out that female face in these STEM fields? Because in becoming a female frontier, as our topic says, you must know the limitations. If you don't know the limitations,
Yeah.
you won't know how to scale up this ladder. So, what are the limitations, possible limitations, right from the cradle to when you get to the top there, the rungs of leadership? What are the limitations in the various steps, the sectors, and the sessions?
So I think the first one has to do with what we spoke about earlier, which is the mind, right? You've been psychologically conditioned to limit yourself. So the first one is that limiting belief that you have adopted, right, and inherited unknowingly from the society, right? That's the first limitation. You limit your mind by accepting limiting beliefs. The second limitation is that we don't have an environment that is conducive for both genders, right? I'm sure from your experience, even when you were learning engineering in university, even the hours, even the way, your learning was, being conducted did not feel so suitable for a woman, right? And I've heard a lot of people that have taken engineering courses tell me that most of the time, the way the lecturers teach or the way, the process of teaching you does not challenge you to really open up your mind. Most of it is theory, theory, theory. There's barely any practicals to it. And, most of the time we find that women do get frustrated easily by things like that, right? So the teaching method is also a limiting factor. Now, finally, you come to the workplace, right? From the payments to even having access to certain projects because you're a female engineer, to even being able to be on site to become a supervisor and growing, in your career is also limited because the workplace, again, has not been designed to accommodate a woman, right? Let me share the story with you that I read that just blew my mind about the COO of Facebook. I don't know if you've read her story, Leaning. And she spoke about how she was heavily pregnant. She was, I think, either 7 or 8 months pregnant, just about to give birth. And she had to walk up how many floors to get to the meeting, right? And this was an early morning meeting. And she couldn't find parking. And so she was late for the meeting. And this was one of the first projects she had ever been given. And when she came into the room, finally, after being late, and she was about to start the meeting, guess what? She needed to go to the restroom. Because she's pregnant, her bladder is already telling her, you need to leave the room again, right?
Yes.
And she said she remembered she was the only woman in a boardroom with 7 other men. And she said the looks they gave her and the, under breath comments they made for her to go to the bathroom. And she said it was so uncomfortable using the bathroom because it was when she got to the floor, she realized that there was no female bathroom on the 7th floor.
Wow.
And so it was either she used the male toilet or she had to go down to the 5th floor. Because the reason why they don't have any female bathroom is because they've never had a woman as a partner on that floor.
Valid.
Do you see?
Very valid.
So she had to, and she was like, it was from her experience that she realized that she had to fight to actually get a bathroom on the 7th floor. I mean, even if there's no partner on that floor, there are female assistants, there are other women that work with them, but they cannot use the bathroom on the 7th floor. Like, can you imagine the level of, limitation that causes for you? So these are some of the realities that a lot of women are facing, right? Let's not even talk about when a woman has to supervise a project, a civil project, like, building of a house or building of the way the people that do the menial jobs, the way they look down on them, the way they speak at them, saying, I have 4 of you at home, or I have 2 of you at home that can never talk to me. Do you understand? They don't even take instructions from a woman. Meanwhile, you're a civil engineer on this site, but you're not even being taken seriously. Everything you say, is being brushed away. So these
That's
are some
correct.
of the limitations that, these women face. And it's very sad because when I look at it, I feel like, and for every society that wants to progress, the reality is that you have to involve women. Women are 50%, 52% of the population. A society cannot grow if you limit more than half of that population. It is statistically and scientifically impossible. So if we are really ready, if we are honest, right,
Yes,
about
ma'am.
this growth and this journey that we want to undertake of development and trying to be better, and trying to achieve diversity and inclusion, then we
Yeah.
have to start by saying, how do we make sure, that everything we're doing, including the policies that we pass, how do we ensure that these are actually inclusive and diverse? So these are some of the limitations that I see.
Okay, that was great. I want to relate with the part that you talked about a woman being a civil engineer and you have to go to site and give an order, and those menial,
Yeah.
those guys there, the foreman was just like, "What are you doing here? Like, why should you be the one
Mhm.
giving me? What do you know?" So
Yeah.
when I was doing my internship, like my COAs in my 400 level, and I
Hmm.
studied civil engineering, so I went to the site, and at that point, my engineer made me an assistant engineer in a way because of the scale of learning and improvement and my passion with learning the course. There are sometimes he
Yeah.
assigns me the role, so it gives me the civil engineering drawings that had already been done. At that time we were constructing a road and we were building bridge that time, so I could interpret what was on the bridge or what was on the drawing, and I could tell
Yeah.
the engineer, you cannot use a 30 diameter reinforcement to round for a pile. No, you have to
Hmm.
use 16 for that kind of pile because that's what is
Yeah.
written on it. And moreover, with the soil test that we have done, we have seen that it is highly compatible that you use the 4 millimeter diameter reinforcement. And the guy was like, why should you be the one to give me an order? What do you think you are? It was almost starting a war in the side. I was
Yeah.
like, "Girl, calm down. This is the right thing. You're doing the wrong thing. What makes you think I don't know what I am saying?" It was almost busting
Hmm.
out into war. So environmental conditioning is actually a big, big, big factor.
It
Even
is.
while we're learning in class, a lecturer will come
Hmm.
in and the first thing he's doing is to scout for the females that are present in class. So
Yeah.
even if you are having your monthly menstrual flow and you're in deep pains, if
Mhm.
you're absent from the class, it puts you in trouble. And they don't care.
No, they don't,
they,
because
they,
they
they,
haven't
don't,
been conditioned to care,
they don't care.
unfortunately. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they don't. So at times that when they do like that, they can even, if you are in the middle of the class or you are behind the class, they draw you out from where you are and keep you at the front. So it keeps on throwing question at you, keeps on throwing
Hmm.
question just to make you feel
Challenging
little.
you.
It's not because to test
Yeah.
anything, but just to make you feel little. So our
Hmm.
environmental conditioning, right from where we are the crowd though, to when we are in school and to workplaces, to internship, it is not
Yeah.
fair. And when you
No,
come
it
to the
isn't.
roles of leadership, especially in National Society of Engineers, you will see that out of the
Hmm.
100 people there that are taking up the roles of leadership, probably it's only about three that are they. And what are they? Mainly treasurers. They're not giving
Yes.
presidency. They're not giving vice presidency. They're
No.
not giving secretaries.
No.
Why?
Yeah.
Because they feel you are not capable. But I feel
Hmm.
that the narrative is changing as we are progressing. I really believe so. So when we have our
Yeah.
stories like this to tell and we tell people this shouldn't be, they feel like, what do you feel like? But it's something we have actually passed through. So thank you, Ma, for
Hmm.
those limitations that you've pointed. They are really valuable to this journey. So to you, our dear listeners, if you want to become a frontier in this STEM field, these are the things you have to put into consideration. Your psychological conditioning, you have to do that for yourself. Even though there are mentors, there are leaders that have already taken up this role, they won't always be there for you. My experience, Coach Farida experience, and your experience cannot be the same. The people that we meet and the people that you are meeting cannot be the same. So you have to sit up, you have to do this for yourself because nobody's going to hand it to you at a platter of gold. You have to work your way forward. If guys are writing 5 point GPA,
So,
you also have to write 5 point GPA. They do not care. So you have to do this for yourself. Environmental conditioning. Your parents are going to tell you you cannot do this. Your siblings will not support you at a point. Even the people you call your mentors will say, if you think this is too hard for you, calm down. But I want to encourage you like this. You have heard my story. I've heard Petrarita share our own story. This is the thing. It will always continue like this. It's not going to get any better. The more we fight for this equality, the more they are going to put up their arms up and their shoulders up. Their ego is going to come on more. So you have to do this for yourself. You have to arm yourself with the knowledge, with the skill, with the stability, whatever you can think of harming yourself with, because You must just do this for yourself because it's actually the right thing. Thank you, Ma, once again. So, Ma, to the next questions, since we have pointed out the limitations, you mentioned that over 52% of the world population is female.
Yeah.
So, what do you think would be the economic impact if more women will participate in STEM? The reason why I'm asking that is, if you look out for funding bodies, they don't
Yeah.
fund courses or fund research that are in the art part or social sciences, not because they hate social sciences, but because the real deal is in STEM. So, what would be
Hmm.
the economic impact if more women come into STEM and they participate more in STEM based knowledge, STEM more research, and every other thing? What do you think will be the economic impact with the population you mentioned?
Well, I mean, I feel like it's quite obvious, right? The world is moving towards technology,
Mm,
and that is because technology is able to achieve what we couldn't achieve before as human beings, right?
yeah,
You are not in my house, but we are, teleconferencing, right? There are people in this either in the comments right now or they are going to watch this video later. They are
yes,
not in
ma'am.
Nigeria or not in Africa, and that is also only possible by technology, right?
Mm, yes, ma'am.
Connecting people in such a way that we have never thought about before, right? That tells you
Mm,
that technology is the future. Now, imagine if you had more women, right, in this field, bringing, human experience, right, to what's
yeah,
happening. Because we acknowledge that women are nourishers. We acknowledge that women are nurturers. We acknowledge that women bring a certain touch to everything that they do, right? And
sorry.
because of imagine if we had women in technology actually telling you that there is a better way to be able to service the society. There is a
Mm,
better way for you to be able to provide solutions, right? There are
yes,
ways
ma'am.
that you can provide solutions that people would be more open to, people would be more acceptable to it. People would actually feel like this particular thing is human centered, this solution is talking about me, right? Let me give you a simple example with 5G. There has been so much ruckus about 5G for a long time in Nigeria. People are saying, oh, it's the end of the world, or it's a way for the government to be able to control us, and this and that. When you look at the way, right, the
Yes,
government,
ma'am.
especially in Nigeria, has been handling the conversation and the marketing and the branding around 5G. Imagine if a
Yes.
woman was the person handling that. The type of way that that conversation and that messaging would be done will be very, very different. But unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, right now, the two top or two most important people in communications and technology in Nigeria are both men.
Mm,
So there's no female touch to the conversation. There's no
mm,
female perspective about the conversation. And
mm,
so it keeps breathing more fear. Now, imagine if a woman was actually part of this conversation and was handling the conversation. I believe that the way people would view 5G would be very different. But fortunately or unfortunately, we are in a society where when a woman is talking, if 10 people are in the room, probably only two people are listening to her.
haha, agree. Totally agree.
So, so even though we would complain that why is a woman not heading any of the tech, big tech in Nigeria, we know the reality. It is because when a woman talks, nobody listens, right?
Like they say,
Now
there are
we are in
unsaid
a time,
rules.
exactly. Now we are at a time where a company like Piggyverse is being, mentioned. People are celebrating it. A woman is the face of that company. I personally do not know the other co-founders. I know there are three of them, but I personally don't know the other two, right? But when you see the way people talk about Piggyverse, nobody remembers that a woman is part of that conversation, right? And that is just one example. There's so many other female-owned tech companies that are rising. But that shows you, right, what can be done if a woman is allowed to play in the role that she enjoys, right? Because I've listened to her story before. That's the COO of Piggyverse, and she has mentioned all the many challenges she went through, you know, trying to build this company with two other friends. So really, the possibilities are endless. We just need to decide, like I said earlier, as a society, are we serious about economic growth? Are we serious about development and prosperity? If we are,
Mm.
then we need to learn to take women seriously.
All right, amazing. See, talking about this very topic. So I started running a series on Man Crush Monday and Woman Crush Wednesdays. So
Yeah.
I've been running this series for the past 4 months, and I have been very consistent. If you check the Stellar Females wall, you will see these
Mhm.
stories are there. If you check my own personal page, whether on LinkedIn or on
Mhm.
Facebook, you are going to see that these stories are there. So people were like marveling when I started at first. Are you telling me that there are
Yeah.
women that are doing this kind of thing? I was like, why are you
Mhm.
sure? So over time, as I was being more consistent, they keep on throwing this question more and more. You're lying. A woman cannot do this.
Mhm.
So go and
Mhm.
check. The recent one was this lady that she's the richest woman in Asia and she's 35 years old. Even though her
Mhm.
wealth was bequeathed to her by her father before the father died, but she has been able to step up on that wealth and build
Yeah.
more compared to what her father lived her. The richest woman
Mhm.
in the world, Bentacod Mayers of
Mhm.
Lerels Oil,
Yeah.
it's a big company. That it's fine.
Yeah.
But at the time the parents left wealth for her, she was just $24 billion rich. Today she's currently
Mhm.
$92 billion richer. What would you tell
Mhm.
about that? It is our initiative that has grown the company. She has over 205 branches present in countries. She's the one that brought up this initiative. Between
Yeah.
2017 and 2019, she grew the company by over $42 billion, such that World Finance came to question her. What did you do that you have to grow this company in 2 years like this? It has never been
Mhm.
recorded. So people will keep questioning how women have done this. Okay, recently, the most recent one that was very interesting was Canva. Canva is founded by a
Yeah.
woman, but whenever you tell
Yes,
somebody
it
that
is.
Canva that everybody is using is founded by a woman, they're like, you
Yeah.
cannot
They
tell me
don't
that
believe
Canva
it.
is founded by. They don't believe it. And Canva
Yeah.
recently hit 40 billion US dollars. When I posted it
Mhm.
on my wall, I had lots of questions. Where did she begin from? She simply began from scripting those things in a jotter.
Yeah.
And she founded the company with her lover. And today they are still
Mhm.
building it together, but they are not yet married, but they are still building it together. So these are the
Mhm.
things women have gone. But they keep undermining us that we do not have the brain exercise to do great things. Canva is a technology enabled app that is helping people all over the world. From Australia, it's not
Yeah.
even US this time around. It is
No, it's not.
Australia. Talking about I wanted to even react to your story that you talked about the woman, the CEO in Facebook that had to climb to the seventh floor because she was pregnant. I watched a movie called Silicon Valley, and
Mhm.
there was a woman that had to take up over a VC company. And because
Yeah.
she was pregnant, the guy that was directly under her had to pull some strings to get her out of the position so that he can assume the position. And the woman,
Mhm.
being a wise woman, has already planned her stay because he knew what men are capable of doing. And the guy
Mhm.
executed exactly what she thought in her mind. But before he executed that, the woman has already messed things up for him so they can come and enter the
Yeah.
deep shit he thought he's going to
Mhm.
put the woman into. So I'm like, man, why do you people do this? Why do you feel intimidated when it is a woman that is giving you orders? Why? I
Mhm.
don't get it. Why do they do that? But as you have heard today, because I know, because this is a YouTube live, anybody can watch it. But be it, I've already seen a male comment on the comment section, be it a male or be it a female. We are not
Mhm.
competing with each other. Both of us, we are all here to make sure that we are living a great life. We are also here to make sure that we are adding value. And if you give us the
Yeah.
opportunity, we are going to make a serious economic impact. Look at United Kingdom. It has been run by women for over ages, and
Mhm.
the country is not deteriorating in any
Yeah.
way. Rather, the value of their money is among the top best in the world. What can you say about that? So come on, give us this. We are not begging you because we know we are capable, anyways. So thank you, Ma. Thank you very much for that great addition.
You're
All right.
welcome.
I wanted to talk about societal influence, workplace environment, and sociocultural phenomenon, but we already mentioned that in the course of our conversation. So without further
Yeah.
ado, since we have mentioned these gaps, we have mentioned the limitations, we have talked about so many other things, what can be done to close this gender gap? Because if this gender gap is closed, that's how we can achieve the aim of becoming a female frontier in STEM. What can be done to close
Mhm.
this gender
Mhm.
gap?
So from the top of my head, there are two things that comes to mind. The first one is the women who are able to go up need to look back and mentor more women.
Mm,
Look back and pull more women up. Right. I feel like as a woman, whichever sector you're in, but especially a STEM sector, it is
mm,
your responsibility, right, to look back and bring up 10 other women. For you that is one, you need to bring up 10, right? So it's like a 10 for one type of situation. It's
Yes, ma'am.
really, really important, because by doing that, we would have more women at the table. The
Yes.
second thing is we really need to find a way to make these men our partners, right?
Mm,
It's so beautiful when you see a man so secure in himself, that he allows his sisters, his daughters, his partners, his friends, all the women around him to shine and to flourish. It is possible. I have seen it many, many times. I've seen it happen many, many times, and it's possible, right? But we need more. We need more of these partners for it to be able to be sustainable. And how do we do that? It's again, it comes back to parenting, right? Parents, especially in our generation, need to learn to really conquer those generational bias and fears that we've inherited, right? Just last week, I was saying it on my Instagram. We need to teach our boys empathy. We need to teach our boys emotional intelligence. We need to make our boys understand the role of a woman as it should be, right? Not just be a gentleman, quote unquote, because that is what the society expects from you, but really take the time to talk to your sister, to talk to your friends, talk to your mom, right? Understand something as simple as a period, right? Does it mean for a woman to be on her period? What are the hormones that are involved? What does it mean for a woman to be in menopause? What does it mean for a woman to be in ovulation? Because when you look at the biology of a woman, literally, I saw something very funny, but it is true, right? It's only 1 week that a woman is actually sane. All the other weeks, your hormones are just messing up with you. The week before your period, you already have so many hormones dealing with you. Then you're on your period, there's another set of hormones, making your mood go up and down, giving you low energy and this and that. And then after your period, you have ovulation. So there's literally only 1 week in the whole month that you are actually yourself, right? Or that you
yes,
have more control over yourself and your emotions. And these are things that we don't teach our boys. Our boys know nothing about it, right? You see a man complaining that his wife always has mood swings, or his wife is always angry, or this or that. He doesn't even understand what it means for her to be in a mood or to be on her period.
mm,
I know women that hide from their husbands when they are on their period. They find ways to just maybe fight with the husband or get him out of the house until they're back not on their period anymore, because they believe that they're dirty or they're smelling, or the man shouldn't see them in that kind of situation.
yes,
These
ma'am.
are realities that are happening in the 21st century, right? And these are things we need to break down from parenting, right?
Mm,
I'm very thankful for my father and the house I grew up in, because many times when I was on my period, my dad bought sanitary towels for me, or he would send my brothers to buy it for me. And I remember even at the time, it was so strange. Like, why is a man coming to buy sanitary towels? Till tomorrow, when you go to supermarkets and pharmacies, sanitary towels are hidden at the back or at the top, right? Even to buy it, it's almost like you're ashamed. It's easier to buy a condom than it is to buy a sanitary towel.
I
These are
agree.
the realities that women are going through. So I really feel like we need to, teach our boys better if we really want this to change. And we need to have a conversation around what it means for a woman to really be in her full potential, and what it means for a man not to be insecure because he's around a strong woman. These are the conversations we need to have if we want things to change.
Okay. Okay. So it's actually about the men trying to understand the women makeup because it's an entirety something. That's really valid. But what do the women has to do to help close this gender gap? Because it's not just about the men now, because they don't know.
Mhm.
Now, if you know that you want something, if you want to drink tea, you have to be the one to
Yeah.
go and tell your parents, "Mommy, I want to drink tea." So how
Mhm.
what do you tell the women? What do they do? How do they put up? What character do they put up? How do they present this case to men to help them understand that we need to close this gender gap? Because it's actually a man's wall, whether we like it or not. But how do we project it to them that it's not actually a man's wall, that both of us can cohabit together? What do the women need to do?
So I think for the women, like I said, we need to engage more in dialogue, right? We need to have more conversations about what we want, when we want it, and why we need it.
Yes, ma'am.
Unfortunately, a lot of women get so caught up in the emotional side of things that they're not able to have um, a conversation that is meaningful, right? What I'm learning when it comes to emotional intelligence is that you need to learn how to be able to communicate. You would be assertive, but also at the same time, you are not condescending.
Yeah.
So that's what women need to learn. They need to learn how to be more assertive. And that's why the first thing I said when I answered earlier was mentorship. I feel like mentorship would really teach these young girls how to communicate more assertively, right? If
Okay.
you are someone that has already been able to scale a certain, ladder or scale a certain challenge, and you are explaining to a woman that is coming behind you that this is what I did, this is why it worked, you can use the same formula or you can tweak it to your personality or your situation. But what is important is that for you to get X result, you need to do ABC, right? So
Yes,
the
ma'am.
more women are sharing those steps, the easier it is for the younger ones to be able to explain themselves. And really, what I find is that unfortunately, women are the biggest gatekeepers of patriarchy.
Hmm.
Why? Because they've been conditioned to accept that that is how it is. So
Valid.
the few women that have been brave enough to conquer those limitations,
Yes, ma'am.
they are scared to share because they feel like society looks at them as the outsider.
Hmm.
So what we need to do is to bring them in and say, no, you are not an outsider. Actually, we look up to you. We admire you because what you have done is brave. Come and teach us how to do it. Now, the more we have those dialogues and those conversations, the more things begin to shift.
All right, that's valid. And one of those dialogue and conversations is what we are having now. Okay, my
Yeah.
coach mentioned something about having mentors. Currently, in stellar females in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, we don't have a website yet, but we are thinking of building a website. And one of the things we are looking out for is how to pay mentors with mentees and actually how to guide them. But how we reach out to more women in STEM is by advocating, going out there to campaign, because we found out that at the point where they make these crucial decisions is at their JS3 class, their high school, grade 3, for
Yeah.
those that are not in Africa, Nigeria. So we reach out to them at that point. That's the point they make the critical decision whether to move into social sciences, to art classes, and to science classes. For somebody like me, my dad sent me to a pure science school. In my school, it was, first of all, it was pure science. There was no arts, then there was no social sciences. And secondly, it was a fully boarded school. We were all boarders. There was no day student in my school. So it gave us a focused perspective that you are here for full study. You're not here to be distracted or anything. There's nobody that is
Yeah.
coming out there to save you. If you are going to make trouble, you're going to make trouble and you're going to save yourself right inside here. So we actually grow up, we actually breathe like more of in a prison yard. So, but in stellar
Yeah.
females, we meet how these people at this critical age. Tell them the importance of taking up a career in STEM. Tell them the problems that the world is currently facing and why we need them to fit in and take up this position and go further there and do a lot of things. A woman is a CEO of YouTube, and you can see the new policies that are springing up in YouTube is blended. It's blended both to the female, to the male, because they come in and they understand this perspective. But if we keep allowing the male to be the ones that are providing solutions to the problems we are going to have in the future, it is going to be
Yeah.
one axis focused. It's just going to be channeled towards the men. The men are the ones in the workplace, so they need Zoom. So they created a Zoom for them. You get towards something like that. So we need the more women to come in and create something that is also focused to us. Now we are not asking you to come here and the only thing you're creating for us is probably makeups and all. We need more diversity. So that's why we need more. I'm not saying makeup is bad, fashion and beauty is bad. Actually, it's actually very lucrative and it's great. But beyond that, we need more adaptation. We need more ecosystem. We need a pipeline that can direct and redirect, that can incubate all of us together and prefer a solution. So that is one way we
True.
reach out to this female at a younger age to tell them the importance of taking up. That's one way we think we can fill this gap. Another way is, I'm adding up to the ones you already mentioned, is we
Hmm.
somebody coming out to tell is our story. I have a story. I am coming out to tell my story because I fought my way through it and I am here and I have a story to tell. I don't know who my story is going to affect tomorrow positively. But one thing I know about a conquering story is that there's always somebody out there that Add
Let
aids
me
to the
get
story. Yes,
yeah.
and use the story to scale. So that is why I do this, and it's been very, very interesting. It's another reason why I also opened this organization. Another reason is after sharing my story, I go out there to share other female story that have done amazing things and they are doing well. You can see the result. I share it to people in my social networks and I ask you to share it so that another female out there can see it. And the thing I do is that I am not specified to the people that have the Senate climbs, the United States and all. No, no, no. I share across all the continents of Africa, all the continents, America, United States, every North America, South America, all of those continents. I share it because I want it to be a broad perspective. There was even a time I did a comparative analysis of the richest women in Asia, of the richest women in Africa, of the richest women in South and North America and Antarctic Africa. I wanted to know what is the source of their wealth? How did they make this money? What can we learn
Mhm.
from them? How can we utilize their knowledge? Where do we best fit in? And it was such an interesting study. I am going to develop a comparative report. When I do that, of course, I am going to send it for everybody to see. I will send it to you, Ma, so that you can see. But it was actually a very interesting season when I took my time to study how these women became the richest women in the different spheres of the world. Why is it that when they became the richest women there, the second richest is not even close to them? What kind of gap is that? What causes that kind of gap? So I share this story because I also want to close this gender gap. I want somebody there to be encouraged. I want somebody there to stand up and say, I'm not doing this anymore. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. I want to solve a problem, and this is how I'm going to do it. Dr.
Mm.
Strive Maisiwa said that the future is Africa. Why did he say that the future is Africa? He said he looked forward to the fact that the richest person that they are going to announce would be from Africa. And it will not just be a male, it would be a woman. That at that time, the world is going to turn all over. So if you're watching this video and you are a woman, because when he said that thing, I had to screenshot it. I had to write it down in my journal. I have to paste it somewhere. Every time I go there and I open it and I look at it, what activated Strive Maisiwa to say this. Now, Strive Maisiwa is actually a very global entrepreneur. The richest man in Zimbabwe. He has done a lot of
Yeah.
things. He has made very good, phenomenal people. Richard Branson, mentioned in President Trump. He has made all of these things. So for him to come to his page and say that, something must have triggered it. So if you have not heard it, go back to Try My Siwa's page. Go and scroll through his messages. You will see that message. Screenshot it. Allow it to jump at you. Let it make sense to you because it really made sense to me. Something in me came alive. I feel if Strive can say this, it's time for the African women to step into the shoe of leadership, to step into the shoe of solution and build something tangible. It's no longer time for us to do mood swings. We are done with that. It's no longer time for us to sleep 8 hours in a day. If you think that you can function very well when you sleep eight hours in a day, do it. But this is a time to come up and build very important solution-based solution. However, we are going to do that, and then we are going to do that. We have 12 more minutes left, so we are trying to round up, Ma. So, Ma, before we go to the next question, after we have seen how the female can be a great balance to economic impact of the world, what are the things that do you think that can trigger female in STEM? Because no matter the words that we say, no matter we campaign to go out there to do, there's always something that triggers. Could be a family support. It could just be a mentor coming out there and say, I'm going to guide you. It could be a scholarship. It could be anything. So, what do you think are the things that can trigger more female to join their hands and coming together in STEM? Because one thing I observe is even if somebody was in science classes, especially in Africa, in Nigeria, when it's time for you to take up a university course and you apply for a course and they did not give you, they say, okay, you can do well in this kind of course because you study science. You just dash in and do it. No passion, no energy, no nothing. It's 0/0. What can we do? Okay, what are the things that can actually trigger more female in STEM so that our listeners can hear?
So I think one of the things is it's really like a sum of everything we've said, right? The first one is like you mentioned, we need to have this conversation more to encourage people to follow their passions, right? If we find a woman or a girl as she's growing is interested in wires and is trying to understand how a bulb works or how a car works, we should encourage her to learn that. right? The
Okay.
second thing is for us to create community or clubs that involves women or that includes women. You see all this Jets Club, all this, science clubs that we have in secondary schools. We need to
Okay.
encourage more girls to join those clubs. We need to
Okay.
start the mentorship early, right? I'm really glad to see that a lot of university and, NYSC, you know, um, people who are coppers actually go back to secondary schools or junior secondary schools to try and mentor girls and teach them. I love that. We need to encourage that and do more of that, right? We need
Okay.
to find, I'm really glad also to see that a lot of the, a lot of the organizations, the professional organizations are open to giving out grants and scholarships to girls just so that they can encourage them to be able to learn. Now, while we are doing that also, we need to also be able to handpick these girls early, right?
Mm. Yes,
So
sir.
as opposed to just pushing girls to automatically do one thing, allow them to express themselves, right? Allow them to show the talents that they have, right? We're in a world where you have things like, America's Got Talent, Nigeria Got Talent. People as young as 10, as 5, as 7 are going on these shows, singing, drawing and all of that and painting. We should organize such things for young girls as well to be able to show if they have an interest in STEM, right? So these are some of the things that I think we can do to help to trigger these conversations. But really, it comes back to the same thing. We need to have more conversations. We need to mentor more girls.
Okay. All right. More conversation, more mentoring to more girls. So we need more people to just step under the rungs of leadership. Another thing I feel should can trigger more female in STEM is another factor is the political situation in Africa. When
Hmm.
the president of Tanzania became the first female president in Africa,
Yeah.
I felt a relief. I feel change is finally coming here. But how did she become the
She
president?
was first or the second, because we've had
Oh,
Ellen Johnson Sirleaf
oh
in
yeah,
Sierra
the
Leone.
second. That's correct. The second. So would she have been voted in if the former president didn't die while he was a president? Because she was a vice president when that president died. So they just
Yeah.
pushed her to become an active president, and then she became president. Would that
Hmm.
would it have been a different situation if she took up a campaign and said, "I want to run for presidency"? So when this
Well,
movie King of Boys,
mhm.
yes, ma'am, I'm listening,
No,
ma'am.
continue.
Yeah,
No,
when
no, I
this
just
movie
wanted
came
to
out,
add.
okay,
Go ahead. Finish your trail of
okay.
thought, then I can add what I
Okay,
wanted
when
to say.
this movie came out, The King of Boys, and Eniola Salami wanted to become the governor of Lagos State, the best state in Nigeria, like they used to say,
Hmm.
we saw the challenges and all. If not for the fact that she had her own way, she has been building it since
Yeah.
ages upon ages, and yet she still had the first tier that supported her. Would she have ever
Hmm.
become the governor of Lagos State as is happening in the movie? So when the woman became the president of Tanzania, so many questions round up in my head. It was a great initiative. I liked it. I enjoyed it. But I went back to my drawing board. I asked myself very pertinent question. If the current president didn't die as he died, would they have made her the acting president, even though she has worked her way up, right from the local government to the Senate House to the House of Assembly until when she became presidency, she entered the vice president, she entered presidency. Would she become
Hmm.
president? What do you think? What do you think?
I
Because I feel
mean,
the political class contributes to
mhm.
this.
No, but you see, the thing is, the political class cannot sell what the common man would not buy. That is the truth. Politics is a game of numbers. Politics is a game of perspectives. It's about what would sell, right? It is about what we are able to sell to the common, man, quote unquote. We just said it now that the common man does not listen to instructions from a woman, right? In Nigeria, we still don't even have a female governor, right? Not to talk
That's
about vice president. The one man that tried to do that in the last elections, you can see the numbers that he got. It was abysmal, right? Because he had a
yeah,
female vice president on the ticket. This
yes,
is the reality of the society we find ourselves in. So if you look at it in this context, Tanzania is actually more progressive than Nigeria, that they even had a vice president that was female. We have never even gotten that, right? We've never had a woman. The closest we've ever gotten to the first four is actually as House of Speaker. And you can see how quickly they dethroned her from that office, right? By
yes,
throwing
sorry.
so many things at her. So these are the realities that we find ourselves in. And like I said, we have a lot of work to do. right? We are getting there slowly. A lot of women that you see now that are financially independent, that was not the reality of their mothers and their grandmothers. I believe the more women get financially independent, the more women establish themselves in the different sectors of society and in the thread of society, the more acceptable people will start to be of female leadership. Because informally, female leadership has been with us for centuries, but formalizing it has been the issue. So
Yes.
now we need to break down all the barriers and say, why is it so difficult to be able to transform from informal leadership to formal leadership? What are the reasons, right? Is it religious? Is it cultural? Is it tribal? Is it just mental? Is it emotional? What are those issues that we need to break down, right? I'll give you a simple example. I was shocked last year to hear that before 2020, you know,
Yes.
females, girls from Igbo families could not inherit from their fathers. I was shocked by that. They couldn't inherit land, they couldn't own land. In 2020, I was really shocked to find out that that was the only time that the constitution, the law of this country, which is a secular country, by the way, allowed for that to happen, right? We still
Yes.
are in a society where a woman cannot be a traditional ruler because all the
Mm.
rights that are expected to be done before you become a ruler, the minute you're on your period, those rights are, abolished. You have to go all over again. So we don't even have female chiefs. We don't have, these are the realities of our society, right? And we cannot just change it overnight. We cannot change the conversation overnight. Instead, what we can do is to actually take the time, like I said, to look at the root causes and actually take it step by step until we learn to do that, right? Not just saying we deserve it, we can take it, but understanding that dialogue and diplomacy is the way to go. Then we
Mm.
would be able to start to turn things around. I feel like one of the reasons why we keep having these conversations is because even us as women, we've not been able to mobilize and agree on a path, right? We've not been able to come together and say, this is the way we should go, and this is how we're going to do it for the next 10 years until things change. Once we do that, once we organize better, right, and get the right partners, then things will start to change. Would it be fast? No. Will it be overnight? No. It might take another 50 to 100 years, but we have to keep our eyes on the ball and we have to ensure that that vision is universal, that that vision is not just for now, it is for our great grandchildren and those beyond.
Oh, right. From the comments you have been getting, our audience are really enjoying this conversation. I mean, if you want to continue with this energy, probably we will not close this session today. And this session is supposed to last for just 1 hour because it's pretty very intriguing. We are learning a lot and every other thing. Just one reaction before we close about I come from the southern part of Nigeria, and it is true. When the constitution started saying that females will also be entitled to their parents' property when their parents die, I came up on
Mhm,
my social media and I asked, if the constitution has said this, single families, what do you people say? Because I like sharing my story because I have them. My
mhm,
mom, because my grandfather married two wives, and my mom's mother gave birth to just females. Okay, she gave birth to a male, but he died, and the other
mhm.
woman gave birth to mixed both male and female. So when my
Yes.
grandfather died, they came up with a fight that my moms and their siblings, they cannot share
Yeah.
any in the
Inheritance.
property because they are females and they are all married. What do they need? My mom's elder sister had to take up the fight and fight it through that it is their father, they are
Mhm.
siblings, so they must give the property. They have children, so they must inherit it. So what we are trying to say that if a woman didn't start up this to advocate for the fact that Igbo parents, you must give your female children properties, probably nobody would have said anything about it. So to you,
Yes.
our dear female out there listening to us, injustice is being done to you. You know that you can do something about it, but you are keeping quiet. How does it make you feel? What do you think that you can do? If you are watching this, I want you to go back and ask yourself that question. What can you do to help other generations that are going to come? Do you want to take up to be the first paramount ruler in Nigeria and you feel you can debunk the current law? Go ahead, shoot your shot. So, Ma, we have 1 minute. So, in just 1 minute, can you please give your final words?
I think my final words for this is just to reiterate what we mentioned earlier. We need to mobilize better, right?
Yes.
We're doing excellently well in all our single fields, but they say that um a stick can be broken easily, but a broom cannot be broken easily. So we need to
That's
come together
right.
to become a broom. We need to shed all this, sectional, sectorial divides that we have. We need to come together under one umbrella as women and decide really what are the changes we want to see in the next 50 to 100 years. And when we do that, we need to be honest with ourselves, not just zoning type of leadership, but find leaders that we know would be able to deliver based on their strengths. And once we do that, we will start to see the changes that we desire. That is what I truly believe. And finally, what I would say to every woman that is watching this or is going to watch this later, you have no excuse to just complain. You
Hmm.
have it in you to do something about whatever situation you find yourself in. And so, what I would advise you to do is to stand up and do what you can. And where you cannot, ask other people to support you, right? And if you are a woman that has succeeded in one field or the other, then let me tell you that even if the world would not tell you, it is your responsibility to pull up other women. Do that so that not just you and your children will enjoy it, but also your grandchildren and the world coming after us will be better.
All right. Well, but what a pleasant word to use. What a pleasant evening that we have. My words always to you is that you are a stellar female. Start seeing yourself as one. Because when you see yourself as a stellar female, you become a solution provider one way or the other. You have the capabilities inside of you and you can do this. Don't allow anybody to limit you. Seek for mentorship. I am a person, I am a girl that mentorship has helped in a lot of ways. Seek for mentorship wherever possible that you can, because it could be a ladder to leverage on and prefer solution. So go ahead and seek for it. Thank you very much, Coach Farida. I wouldn't have had this amazing, intriguing session without you. We are
Thank
honored
you
that you
for
make it
having
to
me.
this session. To our dear watchers, Coach Farida sacrificed this moment to be with us, to say these amazing words to us, even though she's not feeling too well, but she had to do this because she felt this is our own way of contributing to the society, adding value to the society. So thank you very much, ma. It was such an honor having you to grace our community. I hope that when we reach out to you to come in and be one of our mentors in our group when we are ready to set up that platform up, which is going to come up very soon, and you'll be glad to come on board and mentor other women, like you rightly said. Thank you very much, ma. We
Thank you so much
appreciate you.
for having me. Thank you so much. It's been such an honor to have this conversation.
Thank you, ma'am. So, to you all that are watching this, going forward for the next 4 months till December, we'll be hosting this session every month, and we'll be having different speakers that will be coming up to tell us how we can take up the frontier roles as female in STEM. And it's going to be a very exciting session. If you check the description button of this session, you'll find our social media links, both LinkedIn and Facebook. I would advise that you join it so whenever we come up with new and exciting programs, you would be the first to know. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I encourage you to do that and do that right away. Like it, share it with your friends and family, share it to your friends, your girlfriends, your mothers, your sisters, anybody that you can think about if you enjoyed this session. And thank you and have a great life ahead. Thank you and thank you. See you in the next session. Thank you, Mara.
Thank you. Bye for now.